everyone. Welcome to a special episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, PA, and I am so happy that we have another special of our Warrior Women. Today is Fantastic Friday. Today is an inspiration to get the weekend started, and I'm all about empowering and inspiring, and this project has been absolutely amazing. And the group of women that we're about to share with you today are just ready to just pour their heart out. And we're going to talk a little bit about what this project means to us, how we got invited, and what this journey will look like after the fact. So I have some amazing guests, and I am going to bring up one of the co-authors. We have Ariel DeVito. How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I am absolutely awesome. Better now that I have my girls with me here, and we are about to just empower and, let our warrior women strength come out right now and just pour into the women out there. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
So I own a company called Be More Than Fit, and it literally is our mission to help people figure out how to improve their health and fitness long term, right? Like we know we can go anywhere for a workout and all the things. So we just, it's what we do. It's what we love. We love helping, especially women, because as a mom of 3 boys, I have a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 12-year-old. I have a husband, 2 dogs. I know what it's like to try to juggle all of the things and keep your own cup filled and just really step into leadership positions and, the juggle is real, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
I can
that's what I
absolutely
do.
relate. That is awesome. And how did you meet Desiree, and how were you introduced to this co-authorship that we're doing?
So Des actually goes to the same church that I went to. And so I knew Desiree and Jesse just by their smiling, wonderful faces at church. And, I actually, through a mutual friend, I learned about Desiree's story and kind of the things that her and her husband were going through. And we just, it happened to be that we, started to cross paths more and more. And so she actually brought this up to me because I attended one of her events and did a speaker competition with her, and I loved it. And I just love what they're all about. And so she's like, girl, you should totally do this. And I was like, girl, I'd love to.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I actually met Jesse first back in May of last year at a speaker competition as well that one of our mutual friends were hosting. And I heard his story, his and his wife's story, and I was just captured by just how their
Yeah.
storytelling is, how what they're doing with people really being able to get their story out and creating those platforms for them. So you were at that competition. Did you compete?
I did. I did.
How was that?
Scary. It's funny, like even as a fitness instructor, you can be up in front of the room and like do your thing and it's just a different atmosphere and it was really like the first time I had told my part of my story in front of people. So there's that level of vulnerability and you get nervous and excited at the same time, but it was great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you were introduced to this project. How was that? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Like, did you think that it was now the right time to write your story, put it in a book with such amazing women? How was that mindset going when you were introduced to this project?
So honestly, I think there's, for me, initially a level of intimidation. That's something that, I mean, oh, you'd have to read the chapter, but like,
Yes, totally.
from high school, I feel like for so many of us, it starts in like high school or middle school that we start building insecurities and things. And there was initially a moment where I was like, I don't know if I can play like this, like at this level and actually be an author. But I have always kind of felt like I should write something at some point. but I had no idea what that looked like, right? Like, no idea. So, you know, she encouraged me and was like, this would be so good for you, and you just totally belong. There's this sense for me for a really long time of, you know, especially being a woman business owner and being in leadership. I hate the phrase that, you know, says it's lonely at the top, but it's kind of true that when you step into a specific direction that you're going and not everybody, you know, comes alongside you and does it too, it is hard to find your tribe. And so my thought was that this could be a heck of an opportunity to find that tribe and like be in an encouraging, amazing group of women and coming alongside other women who felt the same way, kind of intimidated, maybe a little bit vulnerable, but wanting to step out together.
I love that. You actually gave me chills when you said that, because I also have a women's community and I know exactly how that feels when you enter into the room with people that are just doing amazing things. They probably have surpassed like what we're looking for as far as success, and we feel like, what is our worth? Do we even have anything to offer? But when you can get in this space that Desiree has created, it has been for me such a beautiful thing, and just such a beautiful space, and really just getting to know you women. And I actually had the privilege of hearing your story when you read it in the group, and it's just so powerful. I can relate to a lot of things, and I know that I told you about that. So I'm just happy that you're here, that we said yes to ourselves. We got out of that space and, you know, took that opportunity. And I always say I'm a firm believer when it's something that you've wanted to do and someone gives you that opportunity, say yes to yourself, no matter what the cost is. It might be a struggle, it might be something that really um tries to stop you, but there's a reason why it's happening. And that's really how I felt. So I have been just, again, just smitten with every single woman, all their stories, and I can't wait to read like the full book. I can't wait to
Yes.
like have it in my hands and be in New York with you guys, where I can like hug you guys and say, hey, you know, we did it, and we did it together as one unit, which is probably the most important thing about this whole process for me. So thank you so much, Ariel. You are amazing. Did you want to leave our audience with some final words? Just no, we're not giving any secrets, but just like tell us, what were just some of the challenges that you were able to overcome through this process?
Really, honestly, it's self-doubt. Like, you won't know what the final product is going to look like through the process. You have to just keep showing up and you have to follow through. And as much as, you know, you might have negative, you know, your naysayers, whether it's from the outside or from the inside, just keep showing up, because on the other side of it, even if it's not what you expected it to be, there's still so much available to you in terms of growth and learning. And I mean, it's just, all of the attempts are always worth it, even if it's not as perfect as you want it to be. So just keep showing up.
Perfectly said. Thank you so much, Ariel. I'm going to put you back in the green room. We're going to have some more amazing women come on, and then we'll bring them all on at the end. So again, I truly appreciate you. I'm so happy to be in community with you, and also to get to know you more and, you know, see what this journey brings us all.
Same to
So
you,
thank
Nikki.
you. You're so welcome. Oh my God, we are just going to keep it rolling. We have so many amazing women. We are going to go with our friend, Kathy Mincer. And I hope I pronounced that
Hi,
correctly.
you did. Hello, hello.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Doing good.
That is awesome. Kathy, tell us what you do.
I have a health and wellness business. I called it Believe because I had to believe in it, and it's wellness, purpose, and abundance. And it came into our life right at the time where we were just starting a new journey in our life. You know,
Mm,
changing over everything we do to the better. So it came right into our life right at the perfect time, and we just share it, and it's we are like living proof of what can actually happen, you know, using the right thing. And we just teach people that.
that is beautiful. So, how did you meet Desiree, and how were you introduced
Yeah.
to this project?
I found Jesse on Facebook and I just loved his posts. So I reached out to him and I messaged him. I'm like, these are just powerful. So they held an event in Victor, New York. And as you said earlier, it's like just bite the bullet, paper it, just go, because it was out of my comfort zone again. And I went and I met Desiree, and it was some speakers they had, and we did table group table talks. They gave us a topic, and it was a great time. Well, after the event, I walked up to Desiree and I says, "Can I ask you how your mother came up with your name?" She says it was from a song, Neil Diamond song. I says, "That's how I named my daughter Desiree." So we just we clicked, and it was just a moment, and it was a great moment, and I just thanked them so much because it is out of my comfort zone. Everything I've been doing lately is out of my comfort zone, but I hear God right here. Just do it. Just do it. So I just do
Absolutely.
it.
When he calls, we need to listen and we need to
Exactly.
show up. That's so powerful. When I left corporate America and I was in that decisive mode and really asking for some words of guidance,
Mhm.
and what I heard was, if not now, when? And I clicked that button and I sent that email with my resignation letter. So, and I never looked back. So that's exactly what you have to do. And sometimes you have to jump on faith, because if you're getting that download,
Mhm.
he's going to handle the rest. He's already gave you the idea. Now it's for you to go out and sort it. So I'm glad you paid attention, you invested in yourself, and you got connected with the right people that he has placed in your path.
Mhm.
So in writing this book, like what called your attention to say yes?
Um, I just I in certain rooms I have told not my whole story like I just wrote out, but I have told my story for the path my husband and I journeyed on. And I didn't even, when Desiree called me and asked me, and she gave me the number, the cost of it, and what would be us to do, I didn't even blink at it. I have a stash, and it's in my bedroom, and I say it's in my God protects my stash. So I stuff it all in my Bible. So it was in there, and I didn't even have to go borrow. I didn't have to nothing. I just grabbed it and said, "Here you guys go. I'm in."
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
it was in the right place in the right time, and um out of my comfort zone. I never have been a good writer. Just I've been with a Facebook person that's been teaching me writing. So some people have been saying, "Your stories you've been writing about." So I'm like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that you didn't even blink an eye. And it's not crazy, because I would never say it's crazy, but it is
mhm.
so true. When I was presented with it, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, I just the title had me. I was like, I am in whatever has to do with women empowerment. Let's make this happen.
Mhm.
And then we kind of went through, what the whole thing consisted of, the process, how many words, how long. The only thing that kind of scared me a little bit was the timeline, because we were like ready to get it in, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I can do this. I
Yeah.
had to like say, yeah, you can do it, it's just a chapter. I had just launched my book in January, so it's like, I could
Wow.
do a chapter, I could do a chapter. But yeah, I was just sold. But thank you so much, Kathy, for that. So what were some of the hurdles? I know you said that you are not an avid writer, which is fine, a lot of us aren't. But we do have stories that need to reach people.
Mhm.
So what was your thought process through the journey? Was there ever any emotions behind it, like writing your story, Like, what kind of things did you have to relive anything that may have been, and you don't have to tell us what it is because we're going to read the book, but did you have to relive anything that made it a little bit challenging to go through that process?
I did, because I started way back when I was a young child, 8, 9 years old is where my story started.
Wow.
And there was a couple tough moments that I cried through as I wrote it, but the self-worth of me being a mother, that was hard, that I went through writing that. But as I got closer to the end, I was like, look at this journey I did. Look where we are now, So it it was very heartfelt. I let my husband read it, and he's just over there with a tissue, and because he didn't realize my upbringing. He didn't realize that until he read my story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's a lot of people that are going to get a side of each of us that they've
Uh-huh.
never gotten before.
Right.
And sometimes we think like, wow, did we really want to either take this to the grave, or did we want to put it out there? And I think it's
Mhm.
powerful that we are taking that step, and we're given the opportunity, as Desiree created this platform for us. And it's just a beautiful journey. It was hard. I was like, well, which part of my life is going to probably make the most impact? And I had to go back, how I felt as a young girl as well. So again,
Mhm.
when you put a sisterhood together like this, it saddens me when some people say, I have no friends. Like, I don't have a group of women that I can just go to and kind of vent or share a story. And the fact that we have that just gives me chills, because that's what we all should have. We should not be doing life alone, like, at all. So it's been amazing. But you can stay right there. I know Ariel had to get off because she's still at work. But we are going to bring, if I can get Elizabeth to turn on her camera, and we will bring her right on. There she goes. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you? Welcome.
Pretty good. Busy, busy, I'm sure, as every one of us are.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so happy to have you here. We have not had the pleasure of speaking yet. So thank you so much for accepting the invitation so we can highlight you and this amazing group. So tell me who you are and what you do.
Yes, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me. My name is Elizabeth. I actually work for the federal government and have been for about 20 years. I work in the aviation sector and in the international realm.
Nice. And are you related to this family here?
Yes, I am. So Jesse is my baby brother. I have three brothers. He is the youngest, and Desiree's my sister-in-law.
I love it. And how were you introduced to this project?
So, funny enough, we all got together for Thanksgiving, first time in a long time, and she kind of just casually mentioned it in passing, like towards the end of our trip. I mean, hey, I have this idea, and this is what we're working on. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And that was kind of it. Like, there was no more in depth or anything else about it at that moment. But I thought about it, and but I was never going to bring it up. It's her project. I don't want to impede or, force my will on anybody. And I didn't know if she was even considering me, honestly. But I did like the idea because it's women empowerment, and I'm all for that.
That is wonderful. Yeah, like I said before, the name just captured my attention for sure. And just knowing who Jesse and Desiree are, and just the stuff that they have been doing with Merge Worldwide has been absolutely amazing. And I missed their event in February. I was really sad that I couldn't join them there, but I was able to see them at my book launch, and at Jose's party. So that was like the icing on the cake. That's when Desiree really got to know a little bit about me. So we danced the night away. That was really fun. So I am just happy that you're here. You're part of the project. You said yes to yourself. Now, how did you feel about picking a portion of your life to write about? Like, how was that journey?
Well, interesting question because I feel like I could write many books about many different parts of my life. And I was all over the place in trying to decide what story I wanted to tell and how I wanted to tell it and where to go with it as far as leaving lessons and legacies for my children. Um, so when I first started, like I said, I was all over the place, going in different directions. I feel like all of us women have these things, like you said earlier, like from childhood that kind of transform us into who we are today or a big part of our story. And I just decided instead of writing about some of my traumatic events that I wanted to write about something that brought me joy instead. And that's what I did. I did mention some of my traumatic events for the first time out loud, and I guess for the world to see. So that was it was an emotional process for me, and honestly, I didn't know if I would get it done. Des can testify. It was like 2 days before the deadline. I'm like, girl, I don't think this is gonna happen. Like, I've been traveling for work. I mean, I travel all over South America and the Caribbean, and I'm gone for a week at a time. And then, you know, the mom guilt when I get home. I need to spend time with my kids, not on the computer writing. And it's just like all of those factors. But I literally got it done in 2 days because I was like, I have to do this. I want to show up for myself, and I want to, you know, like meet this deadline and be a part of this project because I think it's an amazing project.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And yeah, this it's not easy. It does take some time away from the businesses we're growing, from the work that we're doing, from being parents, and sometimes we feel guilty and that we're not spending the time that we need to be spending. However, there are a massive amount of men and women that need to hear our stories. So when we have that like in the front center of our mind, that this is going to impact all levels of topics, you know, depression, the fear factor of, you know, your life, the inner hater, the just anything that you know, anything that people's been through, and that's really so powerful. And the fact that, you know, we were able to hit those deadlines, and soon we'll be having them very, very shortly. So I'm super excited. So thank you so much. And I have some more question for you guys, but I am going to bring the lady of the hour on. And then we're going to have a surprise guest for you guys. So we will have, let's bring her
Oh,
on,
word?
the beautiful Desiree. How are you, love?
Hey, we got a surprise guest? Come on. That's
Yes.
awesome. Okay, we're surprising people.
So how are you?
I'm good. I'm it's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. I'm just so full of joy. And the fact that you got my sister-in-law on here, yeah, my mother-in-law on here. I got Kathy's beautiful face. Ariel flew in to New York and she's on. It's just been mind blowing to me what's been happening through this project. It's like every day.
That is awesome. So we are going to bring you on. I will bring you guys ladies back on in just, oh, let me give you the floor and spotlight you, girl. Let me see here. Let me see. Do I have the right one? I'm sorry. I'm just working with this. Give me 1 second here. There she goes.
There ain't.
So tell us, where did this all start? Like, how did this manifest? How were you given this blessing to make this happen?
So really, honestly, we were sitting around the table having dinner with my kids and my husband, and we were just talking about legacy. And this is how it's like kind of just the whole thing is just formed because I just had to swallow something really, really terrible in the conversation because I had my husband doing these things and he was writing books with my daughters at the time. And I was sitting there and I was thinking about legacy and I was thinking about what have I brought to the table to this family as far as anything tangible? And I could not come up with something tangible that I had brought to my kids or to my husband. And I was thinking about it and I thought about it all night. and I was so proud of them. They had just released a book about grief and a child's perspective about that, and I was so proud of them. And I wanted him to have that moment with my daughters, because as a father, that was a beautiful moment, and I didn't want to just throw myself into that just because. So I went to bed all night, and I had to swallow that. It was hard for me. And other than money and things like that I have that as a plan to leave behind for my children, I didn't have anything tangible. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something about this. I got to change this. I was shown at a very, very young age, 21, when I had my fiance killed in a hit and run. Within seconds, your entire life can change. And I don't know if it's been a blessing or a curse, but I always am the one thinking about long term. Long term, what have I left? What am I doing? What are my kids going to have? And I woke up. I had a little moment with God, and he told me, you could do this, and you could lead this, and you have the people and the resources in place. And I had spent so much time intentionally filling myself with women and meeting women and meeting and having them in part of my life to teach me and show me what they're doing and how they're impacting the world, and that I can have friends in all different places in the country, and they're all making this world better, and to have my daughters be, in the rooms with them. And so that's how this entire project came. I just decided I was going to do something about it. I was so intentional about it. I met so many beautiful women with so many beautiful stories. And I was like, how can we do it so that if you're not ready to go up on stage, we can put it in a book? And it's a different way. It's a different platform to be able to expand for the women who aren't ready to get up on stage. There's a lot of women who are not ready to go and do that. This is just a different way for people to be able to do it. And if I'm, if I got God calling me to lead something, I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? But then I had to listen, and so I listened, and here I am, and he was right. I could tell you he was right tenfold. He was right, because I can't even explain to you the amount of fulfillment that this project has given me. So thank you so much for allowing me to be on this platform right now.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing. And I'm going to get the girls back on, but I kind of wanted to talk to you one-on-one to really see, how has this journey been? Now you have this idea. How do you pick how many chapters? How do you pick the ladies you want to invite? You have all these empowered, and I'm sure there's more than the 15 that we have in there, because we're in like huge communities. And what was that process like? Was there any challenges?
Oh yeah.
Kickbacks?
Absolutely. There's always
the
challenges along the way. There's always challenges. I mean, I can tell you, whenever you're doing anything in business, there's challenges. So there were many. First you have to come up with a publisher and have the right publisher in place to be able to fulfill the calling that you've been called to. And so I really, really just love Ken as a person. I think he's just a beautiful person, and his mission is so pure and so true. So I felt very, very confident in Ken as a person. And then also I've seen what he had put out in other projects, and the final project is just so beautiful. So, but then Ken was doing other things that other people weren't doing. And I was just so intrigued by how he was taking this idea of being a publisher to a whole different level. So I was like, man, let's start playing with that idea. Let's start meeting people and be in the game of people who are taking things to a different level, right? That's how, teach me, So I met Ken, and I met his soul and his heart, and I just liked everything that he was doing. So, and then as far as the women goes, who am I aligned with? How are we making an impact in the world? And do I feel called to your mission as a person, and as someone who I vibe with? Like, are we connected through different things? Are we connecting spiritually? Are we connecting in a way that you're non-judgmental towards people? And so really, that's really what it was. And I didn't even mean for this to be a Christian-based project by any means, but that's just kind of what just formed. I didn't say, hey, you can't be a part of this if you're not a Christian. That's not how this went. It just happened to be a room full of, like-minded people. And then having a piece of understanding that this is a non-judgmental thing. It's we're here to share our stories, and we're here to leave legacies. And if you believe in that and you don't judge other people when they're coming on to share that with you, I feel like, you know, it was a very small expense for such a great opportunity to be able to be a published author in your family, to be able to meet all these beautiful powerhouse women. And when I say powerhouse, I think of everyday women who are killing it, doing it, making a difference. And I can tell you, every single girl on this project to me is a warrior woman, period. Like, that's like, my sister-in-law is one of the most that I've met. Kathy Mincer, her story, she plays it small, but I'm telling you, she's going to change many people in the idea of recovery. And Nikki, you are leading in a way that is beyond for women, and the things that you got going on, and the empowerment that you're creating. All of us are supposed to be in the same room. And then when you do that, crazy things happen. And that's what I love being a product of, is really like, this is what women look like. Let me show you what lifting women can do, because I feel like it's not being done enough.
Yeah, so let me tell you just a few things that have happened with me and some of the people in this group. So,
Yeah.
I connected with Kathy. I know she's like, oh, we're going on pre-sale, you know, how do I get my payments together? And she was able to give me a call. And I said, yes, call me in like 20 minutes, and gave her the process, what she needed to do. We set up a Zoom, went through everything. But you don't do that if you don't ask. But because we have this community and we felt safe, and that, you know, it's okay to ask for help, and it was great. We did it, we set it up, and it was just so priceless, just so easy to just have that helping hand. Then, you know, I connected with Jamie, so we have something coming up when she gets back from her retreat, so super excited about that. Connected with Bridget, was on her podcast, had she'll be on my podcast pretty soon. So it's like, it just goes on, and that's what my platform is about. My platform is about just highlighting everyone in my communities, not just women, but those that are doing things and needs just some extra exposure, because I'm not losing anything if I do that. If I'm actually being honest, I'm actually gaining so much more by getting more information. I'm learning through this process as I go along, and it has been just such a blessing. So when, you know, we were doing the project, I'm like, how can I just highlight these amazing women? How can we just bond together and really just pour out there the importance of community, the importance of really empowering other women to share their story or be whom they are sought out to be. So I have just enjoyed this process, enjoyed being with this group. And though I'm busy and doing some crazy things for my event in May, you know, we still have to show up no matter what. We can't be too busy. So if I can't make a meeting, I'm definitely going to put a podcast together. I'm definitely going to drop some, you know, inspiration and knowledge in our group. And those are just the little things that you can do to build huge, long lasting relationships. And I think you have created a perfect platform for that. And I just want to give you kudos and your flowers for that, and just really listening to, you know, what God has led you to do. Because when I found out that your girls were actually becoming publishers, that just empowered me more to work with my son. Even though, you know, he has been part of my whole journey since the beginning, since I started this. But that just inspires me that us as parents, we're leaving these legacies behind, but we also have to be a part of their journey. We have to be intentional with it. And you and Jesse just exude that. And I just love that about you. And I'm like, yes, I am going to lock arms, and we're going to make this happen no matter what it takes, no matter what challenges. So I just want to publicly say thank you. But I am going to get our other girls on. Well, let me get your surprise guest on, because even though she was here, we have her back for you.
Oh,
hi! Hi, Mom. How are you?
oh,
I know I'm mad, but I've seen your face, and I'm like, oh no, we need to have her on. We need to have her back on, because let me tell you, Mom, you have been so inspirational to all of us. and I just love it. So I kind of just want to ask you, like, how proud are you of Desiree on this project, and how does it make you feel to be on this journey with her?
Oh, I don't even know where to begin. Oh my goodness. When she first mentioned the project, I'm just like, well, you go, girl. I wasn't really thinking I'm involved at this point, but I just said, yes, you go for it, because I wanted her to feel um, in the family unit that she had something to contribute. I really wanted that for her more than anything. And I know that her daughters and our son had already put a book together. And in fact, I don't know if I told you this, Des, but I did say something to Jess. I said, well, okay, now when's it Des' turn? And he didn't say much at that point. So I don't know if it was already in the works, but I'm just so blessed. I feel like, oh my goodness, you're too much. I mean, it was like amazing. And I was glad you asked me. I was very honored. I'm thinking you're going to ask all, people your age, your friends and all that. And I wouldn't be offended in the least. But when you came to me, I was just like, I almost wanted to cry. I just thought, that really speaks to me volumes of that. You're not looking at age. You're not looking at background. You're not looking at any of that. You're just looking to seek out what God showed you to seek out. And it really made it easy for me to say yes. I mean, in the background, 3 weeks before you approached me about it, I had 3 different people that don't know each other all ask me, you should write something. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, how's that work? And then lo and behold, how you come and you say, oh, by the way. So I'm extremely proud of you. I just can't tell you. I'm proud of all you ladies, every last one of you. You guys are rocket. You are amazing.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank
And
you.
I just want to say that if if it wasn't in the works, when we speak it out loud, God hears it. The universe hears it, and he makes whatever that's supposed to be happen. So just that, when you ask Jessie, hey, when is it Desiree's turn? And then she got that download, and then, the trickle effects start happening. So just speak it into existence. And that's what I want to share with, our audience, with women, with anyone who has those ideas, those passions. It doesn't matter how you're going to get there. Once you get that idea, you start figuring it out. You start taking action, and you get connected with people that have done it, with people that can guide you through the process, and never see it as an expense. And that's another thing I wanted to also share. You have to see these as an opportunity. If I never said yes to myself to be in the room that day on May 14th, I would have never met Jessie. I would have never met Desiree and the 2,000 plus people that I was able to gain in less than 1 year. That has changed my life. I have not done any of this by myself. And each and every person has been definitely part of that. And I have to honestly say that even in the last couple months, just being in this group has, again, shifted another level of my mindset and being part of just community, just over and over. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Mom. I'm sorry, she probably wasn't expecting to get on.
Absolutely not. You're bad. You're still bad.
Oh, okay. I'll take it for today. So we are going to get Kathy
Thank
and
you
Elizabeth
for including
on.
me. I really just came to listen, but because I love listening to all your stories.
Oh, no, you're a part of it.
Doing so.
Absolutely. You're a part of it. You're here. And we definitely want to make sure that every single woman, and those that couldn't make it this week, we are going to schedule another date for them, even if I have to do it a one-on-one. But I'm going to get Kathy back on here. And if Ariel is not busy, we'll bring her on once I see her on camera. So I just want to also ask, and I know I asked you this, Mom, last week, but or on Monday, but I just want to ask Kathy, what is next? What do you want out of Warrior Women after we have received the book, after we have, we have people reading it? Like, what are your goals to see forthcoming for yourself?
I just wanted to find some bookstores and just sit. I love bookstores. And just, see if I can sit in there with the book, just meet women. A lot of my company is women, so it's easy for me to meet women. My mentor tells me that I'm the cold market queen because I can talk to anybody and and just communicate with them. But that's what I want to do, and I'm just gonna be by everyone's side and take this book as far as it can go.
Absolutely. That's
Mhm.
what it's there for. Once it's out, it's out. It's with us forever. We own it. We did it. And trust me, there's going to be fan mail that you're going to get. You're going to get people really reaching out. Trust me, once you become an author, more things are going to come down the pike. So I just say be ready for all of it. And we're going to get Elizabeth back on here. So, Elizabeth, tell us um, what do you look for after the book, and what do you see for warrior women?
Honestly, I think it's just the start of a bigger and bigger project. It's kind of inspired me. I mentioned to Desiree before that maybe I'll do like a Miami version of this because I have some really uh, kick-ass friends. Sorry if I cursed. Um, some amazing women that I know, and they all have beautiful stories. And I just feel like if I could kind of just continue it and shed some light on them, that would be an amazing continuation of this project.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am on the same boat. Like I said, I have a ladies in leadership group, and we have some things coming out in the very near future. So, yeah, you just have to really take this and just run with it. It's not like we write a book and we just leave it alone. Now you have the attention, you have the eyes on you, and not that that matters, but you now have this passion to really tell more, to really reach the masses, to really reach beyond our circles, our communities. And that's really what it's all about, to leave those tools that we are putting together for the legacies and generations to come. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I will ask Mama again, because I know we're probably going to get a different answer, because every day we just know something new about this group and how amazing it is. And I just could think every day a new way that we can really shoot this out the ballpark every single day. So, Mama, what are your thoughts about what you want to happen with Warrior Women, and how do you want it to reach the masses?
Well, I already told Desiree I was going to definitely put one in our city library, and we're a city of almost 500,000, which I know by New York standards and Miami standards is, maybe not quite as big, but I thought that's a place to start. Just give them that, and I truly believe it's going to be in the hands of people in rehab programs, people who are just struggling with life issues that. Like I said, there's a lot of people that are kind of like hidden in our society, and I just see those rehab programs that or even in prisons. I see the book going into prisons. I really, really do. I just genuinely. I mean, that's been our heartbeat all down through the years, is the drug rehabs, the prisons, and the streets. But I just see that those people, they'll take that and they'll take it to heart, because they're looking for answers. I mean, everybody is, but they're a group that oftentimes is kind of overlooked or maybe just not understood. So I really see that is going to be bigger than we realize, because sometimes when they get out of the program, or they're out of they've done their time and they're paid their debt to society, they'll be the biggest evangelist for the book. Trust me, we've seen that happen, where they take it hard, they take it to heart, and they appreciate so much, they're willing to share in a way that will take it to other places that you and I can't, will never even be able to imagine where it would go. And I just see that. Like I said, I do see the book in Spanish still, so I see
Yes,
that
we
as
need to make that happen.
yeah, we need to make that happen, absolutely. And I just believe that, and even amongst the migrant population, where we used to live was a huge migrant population. I mean, 3,000 migrants a year, picking the the fruit, like the apples, and they're getting the cabbage, and they're there for several months. I see that as a target group as well. That they need the hope that there's a life that beyond the hard things that we all face.
Yeah, absolutely. I see an overflow, just an overflow of abundance. I see just drops of hope everywhere with this book. It's just going to be just massive and amazing. And I just can't wait I'm just glad to be a part of it and can't wait till the world witnesses everything. But Ariel, thank you so much for coming back on to give us your final thoughts of what do you want to see with Warrior Women after we're published, we're out there, and we have it in our hands. What do you see for us soon?
I see, the first thing I think is small groups, but the first kind of person I think about are Dez's girls. That age group of girls who, like, have you ever thought, I wish somebody would have told me, like, I wish somebody would have prepared me for this. I think that this is just such a great way to level with young women who maybe haven't, experienced crazy hardships in life. And this is something that, just would feel so good to come alongside a teenager, an older teenager, a young adult, and say, hey, like, there are going to be troubles, but take heart. These other women have struggled and, battled, and you will be okay.
That's awesome. I 100% agree. And I don't have any girls, but I have girl granddaughters. So lots of girl granddaughters. I think I have 4. And I think I'm going to be an aunt to quadruplets. So I don't know if any of those are girls, but so I'm excited. Yeah, definitely to get to the youth, because we are in a part of time in our life that we really need to do more, and we need to show up. And even if we don't have kids or they're not our kids, we can definitely help other moms that are struggling through that process. And I think our time can be utilized in that, in this season for that. And hopefully, we all get into, you know, um, schools and things like that, where we can, again, take this further. Like I said, every day I get another creative idea of how we can really grow this. And thank you so much, Ariel. Thank you so much, Mama. But let's hear from Desiree. What do you see for this? And are we having like a part 2? What's coming on? What's down the pike for you?
Oh yeah.
Now that, we're done with this.
I'm just getting started. So I just want to let everybody know I am on a mission to see as many hands as possible for this book to be a part of. So I'm going to be traveling and bringing this book a lot of places. And I am very blessed to be able to say that I have huge networks of people that I'm going to make sure that this book is in front of. My husband and I have spent years creating networks, and it's really going to be such a blessing for us to be able to put this in front of people, because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of networks and there's a lot of community that need something just like this. Not to mention all the things that you guys have already said, like the women's programs and the prison systems and the teenagers. And the whole idea behind this was to be able to provide my children a book for when they're leaving, to say, here you go, this is it. So when you're in a dorm room alone without me, and life's happening to you, because he says it's going to, at the time, or when they're home and they're alone and they're married, or they feel alone and they're battling something in their later life, that they still have this book to be able to take and to open and say, there's 15 stories of something that's happened to some of these women, and it could be happening to them at that same very moment. And that's the whole reasoning behind this, is to be able to give them something that says life does happen to people, and life does happen to everyday women all the time, but we are still able and capable to be able to put our feet back on the ground, to be able to be warriors, to battle those battles, and that there's hope in those stories. We don't have to be consumed by the negative and the trauma. We can be just enlightened and actually a better person, and more impactful when we go through things, and we're able to go through them persevere and conquer. And so I want my kids to be around those kinds of women, you know, and I've said this multiple times, is being part of a mother is understanding that you're only one person. You know, there's so many beautiful women that my kids can learn from, that I want my kids to learn from. You know, each person has a different story. Each person is gifted in an area, and each person can show my kids things that I can't show them. And so to be able to have a community of women and to say, you know, like, I'm, you know, 15 deep in this little book of women that I would love to have in front of my kids. That's a blessing, because most people don't have that. Most people don't have 15 everyday beautiful women who are strong, resilient, and impactful to be able to have their kids be a part of and to do life with. And so that's really what the future goal is for me, is like, I want y'all to see my kids grow up. I want my kids to be able to be at your things. I want my kids to be able to be part of the youth part of, you know, Women Warrior that we're going to be creating, and to have them understand that we're just getting started. You know, there's a lot of women out there who needs to have their stories highlighted, because there's so many everyday women who are not being highlighted, and I want to make sure that they are. And I don't want my kids just to benefit from it. I want my kids, and I also want my friends and their families to be benefited from it. And then their friends and their families and their friends and their families. So I just want to I'm going to keep this going as long as I can. And, you know, personally for my family and for my children, I just want to say, like, right now, my 2 teenagers are going to have a story and a book with their grandmother. Their abuela's story is going to be in this, and her life lessons. They're going to have their Titi and her story and her life lessons. So my nephews are going to be a part of this. And then me and my life story and my life lessons. And our family now, the Cruz family now, is going to have a book who is women led, that they can open it up and have all these people in their family and see their stories, their side of the stories, and their life lessons from it, just in our own Cruz family now. So I just that alone, right? As far as a family unit, it's beautiful.
Oh my God.
It's so much bigger
beautiful.
so much bigger than us.
And I just want to say thank you for letting us, or myself, be a part of that, because that is powerful. That is so powerful. And I'm glad that, you know, God led you to make it a family project. And we're not just thinking about ourselves, and we want to, you know, get this book out there, but everything you touched on and the reasons why you wrote this book, I am just in awe, because sometimes we don't think that far ahead. Sometimes when we say, okay, we want to get our stories out there, we want to make an impact, but you have thought it all the way through, full circle. And I am just honored and just blessed to be a part of not only the book, but the community, to be in, you know, connection with you, with Jesse, with Mama, with Ariel, with all the women on here. And there's so many of us, and I can't wait till we're really all together in one room or one street in New York, where we're going to be seeing this on time. Is it Times Square in Manhattan? It's going to be on the billboards. Are we working on that?
Yeah, it's the Jumbotron. And when I think about that, you know, think about that. Like,
yeah, let's think about
what a blessing is that. What a blessing. What is a, like, to be able to be on a block, on a billboard that is going to, so many people are going to see that. I mean, it's a huge way to be able to get this book out, but to be able to have their families and these girls all together, and to be able to be in a unit and say, look at what we did. Look at what we did. Look at what God can do when he calls a unit together to come forward, to share, and to be able to have their families experience that. That is, I'm speechless to the impact that will be for me personally in my life. And I want to be able to really take that in that moment. You know, it's going to be it's going to be for the people who bring their families and or their spouses or just the community between us and the girls together to be able to, you know, kind of come together and be like, wow, you know, this is what we did. And to be able to have that moment together is going to be so, it makes my heart so full. And that's why I feel like it's hard to explain what happens, because it's always like it's beyond what we can explain. When you feel like God tells you to do something and you do it, he turns it into so much more than what you could ever even imagine. And I don't consider myself a very preachy person, but I do know that I have faith and my faith leads me. And so when you listen, I've experienced what happens when you listen. Me and my husband with Merge Worldwide, you know, we've just listened. And what happens from that when you do that, it's beyond, it's so much more, it's so fulfilling. And it is, it's because you're living in your purpose. And when you're living in your purpose, there isn't much better than that. There's just not.
Yeah, I can't even fathom the emotions that are going to happen in June once we experience that. But I know I've witnessed some of our communities with their books, and just seeing them, you know, on live, just there, how the crowd was just like, oh my God, like what can I do to get there? And I know that's really not like the ultimate goal, but that is the ultimate reward. And, you know, when you go through this journey on writing a book, and just like you said, like we're going to be there, like we did that, because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of emotion to even get it out there. There's so many things that we battle with ourselves. Like, can we do it? Are we doing it correctly? It's tough. It's not easy. But when you have a sisterhood like this that has been rooting you on from day one to the time we submitted our final edits, and now we're just anxiously waiting for it to just, you know, go through the process. And obviously we wanted to get it to be beautiful and amazing, so that when you guys each receive it in your hands, you guys are just blessed with reading and finding the words between the lines, and what's going to help you on your journey. So I just want to say thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Desiree, again, for just being who you are, just being so authentically you, and putting this together and making this happen. And it's just been a journey, and I'm just truly blessed. And thank you, Mama, as well, for saying yes and being a part of this amazing project. And I see such a bright future for each and every one of the girls that have been a part of it, for everyone in the back. On the sidelines, really like doing the editing and the publishing and all that stuff, because it takes a whole team. It takes a whole team, and it's not easy, but it can be done. And that's really the point. It can be done. So if it's something that is in your heart and you want to, you know, be a part of something like this, and or be a part of this in this amazing group, definitely connect with Desiree, connect with Merge Worldwide. They're just doing amazing things, and I am just happy to be in community with you. So give us your final words on this day, on this fabulous Friday, with your popping lipstick from Besitos, which I absolutely love. So let us know, give us your final words, and what you what you want the world to know right now in this moment.
It's just the power of community, really. And honestly, the impact that you can create when you're able to find a community where you're able to feel like you're safe enough to share your story. I think in community, you know, it can make you better, it can make you stronger, it can make you bigger, it can make you more impactful, and it can really be such one of the biggest blessings in your life, when you're able to say that I'm not doing this alone, right? We're not required to do anything, but if you are, you know, brave enough to step into a calling, and then you have a community that surrounds you that lifts you to believe that you are capable of that calling, I can't tell you how much it changes your life. I'm an example of what happens when you step into that calling. And here we are because of a 1 pound baby. My daughter, who's 1 pound, who lived for 42 days has created all of this. Nothing exists. Merge Worldwide doesn't even exist. My husband never becomes an author. We're never holding events. We're never doing retreats. We're not doing any of this if it wasn't for faith. And so, again, it's a pure example of what happens when you are able to see the calling on your life, even if it doesn't make sense at the time, that it can turn into so much bigger than we can ever even imagine. And that the power of community can either be so great or so not so great, right? So your community can also make you turn away from your purpose. And so it's as detrimental as it is positive if you have the wrong community. So I just want to encourage people to step into the right community and step into the power of what can happen when you're able to release some of the things in your story. Because like you said, like there's just been, because we all did this and we all stepped into this, we are now releasing, we're healing together, we're able to be together, live together, create this magic together, support one another. And it's just going to be a ripple effect now. Once this book is actually out and we have it in our hands, which I can't wait to be able to do, you never know how far that impact goes. And that's all because of a 1 pound baby who lived for 42 days. So if my baby can touch all these people, and I'm saying probably our goal was to reach 1 billion people, me and my husband, because we did do 1 million and we feel like we've probably already reached that from a 1 pound baby. So if my 1 pound baby can do it in 42 days, just imagine what we can do while we're here if we actually stepped into our calling and we had the right community.
Oh my goodness. Powerful. And
it's unbelievable.
Yes, unbelievable. Absolutely. And it's just, again, just so I'm so speechless with what you said, because it's so true. And that's what captivated me when I first heard Jesse and your story, back in New Jersey. You weren't with him that day, but it's so true. You have captivated the hearts of many, and it's your movement because you guys never gave up. You guys, took that experience and said, well, how can we help others get through the same thing, and really be able to tell their story, because you moved people. So now it's time to move more and more and more. And that's what it's about. So thank you so much, ladies. I love you. Desiree, you're doing amazing things.
Thank you so much.
And you definitely have to come back on, after the book comes out and after we do New York, and we have to do a follow-up on all the ladies and how that experience was. And we'll definitely be showcasing that as the days and the weeks go on. So I'm super excited. Thank you everyone for tuning to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset. If you have not purchased your ticket for May 13th, right? May 13th for our virtual event, well, you'll be hearing some of the authors speaking. Tell us a little bit about that and what your goal is for that.
Yeah, so this is an event to highlight the beautiful women. That's just what it is. I mean, we're on a mission to highlight everyday women who have battled some battles that people can't even imagine. And not only can't you imagine it, but they've battled it and they've won the battle and they're impacting the world. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have those women have that time and that platform to be able to tell their stories and share their stories, and to pause and just take a minute and just appreciate that there's everyday women out there who are doing incredible things, and we need to hear them. We need to be able to stop for just a little bit and just listen and actually be there for for another, and just sit and just take it in that, that people actually went through these stories. They actually went through this stuff. Sometimes we're going so fast that we just don't even really take that in. Like, okay, yeah, all right, we're going to stop, we're going to pause, we're going to actually highlight, because they deserve it, and give some people some resources to be able to have hope again, and so that they're not consumed, and to show the world what it looks like when women support women. And we need to really have social proof of that, and start having the world to understand that this is what it will look like. Because it's just, imagine if we doubled this and tripled this, how many families are impacted. And so what we're going to do is we're going to host a live event to kind of just share these women and you know, they're all over the country and this is what they went through and here are some how it affected them, this process to be able to step out and be brave to do this. And this is what happens. And we all heal together, we grow together, and we're going to share the world now. So
Absolutely.
we hope
Definitely
anybody can.
Absolutely. And I just got word that we have some men purchasing these tickets. So you men, you guys are not left out. You have wives, you have sisters, you have moms, you have daughters. Everyone really needs to tap into what we have going on here and in one way, shape, or form be a part of it, because I truly believe in your missions, Desiree. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host. Have a great day, have a great Friday, and a great weekend. But as I always say, make it count.